Bugatti juice! Bugatti juice! Previously on Kimba TV. Up, right? Value. This is debatable. I mean, you know, maybe value. But the point that I'm trying to make is the value is up and up and up. So what does basic strategy say when markets are building value up and up and up? How we doing? Yeah. Mapeda says, I'll be back after I watch the highlights. Yes. Exclamation YouTube, exclamation rewind. Don't forget to get caught up on the Discord post from the weekend. I'm still going to be executing my plan from the weekend. Nothing's really changed since last Friday. JV says CME swept 65.2, but that's not the level. That's the level. Do you remember what we said? I actually said maybe this shouldn't be a dotted blue line so y'all don't get confused. There you go. Schwiggity. Make sure you get caught up, JV. Yeah, because the daily is more important. So we went over that yesterday. It's in the highlights. But the daily is a little bit more important. Why are my levels not showing up? Tell me my levels. What the fuck? It was just showing like 5 minutes ago. Why did? Coinbase. There we go. Why did it take so long to show? There you go, big dog. Well, U.S. markets are opening in 40 minutes. S&P has that huge gap we talked about. S&P closed at 57.22. S&P futures is already 100 points above at 58.26. Y'all ready? So we're looking for somewhere around here. Alrighty, let's get the daily in just for shits and giggles, y'all. Any questions? Lions don't play says, I wonder how S&P will affect BTC. Well, we talked about it yesterday. We talked about how it would matter how the Bugammas come into play. Do you remember? Make sure you get caught up on the highlights. I mean, at this point, any guess is valid. But we're going to keep an eye on how the Bugammas change today. So we got to see this last night. We'll see how it changes. Amelise is asking, don't you think that the figures aren't good in themselves, given that wage inflation is likely to rise and that Jerome Powell won't be able to cut rates as many times as he'd like? Well, I mean, he said that he's going to cut twice, 2 more times in the rest of the year. So, or this is where you can kind of like, this is where me and my Wall Street friends will argue. I don't know if he's going to do 25-25 or if he's going to keep it same in November and then do a 50 basis points. So he's going to either do one more cut at 50, boom, right? So maybe in November he's going to keep it the same, maybe December he cuts, or he's going to go 25-25. But as long as unemployment and like, you know, PCE and CPI is favorable, and they are, we would be looking for up. Alrighty. LA Beats, what's going on? LA Beats, nothing much, brother. You know what it is. We're just waiting for higher. We'll see what the liquidity is around this zone. Yeah, nothing much really, LA Beats. We're going to see what the reaction is like up top. and we're going to watch the data. We're going to see if any of these underwater shorts get squeezed. We'll be looking at 65.6, but it has to be a failed auction or a swing fail. Otherwise, it's going to go straight to 67. All right, LA beats. So make sure that you identify levels to the upside, identify levels to the downside, and then we'll be waiting for edge. YSEC says, I do remember it's for you, it's a skip zone. So for me, YSEC, when I'm going to take a long, I like it when it reverts back to previous value. So this is kind of like 4 hour. For me to go back, for me to like entertain a long, see these chunks, it has to go back to the next. So it has to go back here or it has to go back here. I'm rarely going to take a long in the same value range because that's more scalping. And I don't really have time or the lifestyle to be able to scalp. So it's got to come back to the previous value range for me to entertain a long or a short. Yeah, so just like how we're back at this is still the bing bong ding dong. There is no short for me until we go to the next value zone and see if we fail and then we revert back. But like doing that, I don't really scalp. And so this is just one value range. No, I don't think so, YSEC. It's just I would have to babysit it for so much, and the P&L probably wouldn't be worth it for me. Grimes is asking, S&P poo-poo? Well, there's a couple of things that we always talk about. One is don't get baited on the 5-minute candle. Are you still getting baited? You can't wait 5 minutes for the candles to close? So, every day we have an opportunity to get better. And like, here's the thing. If this was a job and you made the same mistake 2, 3, 4 times and it made your company or your team lose money, you would be fired, right? The hardest part about trading is that it's hard to hold yourself accountable. You know what I mean? There's nobody telling you, you're about to get fired if you do that shit one more time. So, whether it's wait for candle closes, wait for confirmation, those things are always going to be things that you have to hold yourself accountable to. All right. So I would hope nobody is prematurely talking about, oh, S&P is nuking and just getting baited on 5-minute candles. I would hope no lion is falling for it. All righty. But remember, Grimes, there are certain things that I would expect you to be able to do. And so being patient, waiting for candle closes would be one of them. All righty. So every day you have an opportunity to see if you can be the type of trader that you want to be. If the type of trader that you want to be is a profitable one, do profitable traders get baited on 5-minute candle closes? No, I don't think so. So you have to hold yourself accountable, and you are the only one that's in control of becoming the trader that you want to be. Make sense? All right, so do your best. Give me your best. All righty. I don't need you to tell me if you can see if open interest is bullish or bearish, okay? Because I can work on that. But if you get baited on 5-minute candle closes, if you don't have the patience or the discipline to let the data confirm, I can't help you on that. So, all right, make sure that every 5-minute candle close, every 30-minute candle close, you have an opportunity to see if you get baited or not. All right? So show me, show yourself that you can be the trader that you want to be. Let's go. You got to embrace the volatility. Every single time there's volatility, it's not so much are you juicing or are you in a trade? The question is, did you get got? Alrighty? Math is math, bitch! Atherna is asking, is it too late to short? No. So there's a couple of ways maybe that you need to figure out how you want to put in your protocol next time. One is structural edge. You might be saying to yourself, okay, that's not how you spell structural, but I don't care. You might be saying to yourself, okay, I'm going to see if it swing fails anything. Okay? That means that the first one forms, the second one confirms. So you need to have already decided, am I going to front run the confirmation? Okay, did you identify levels like me? It depends on what your plan is. You got to be executing this. Like, think about how it was last week that I was talking about structural edge above 65 is how I would short it. So this is something that I've been thinking about for about a week, right? At least. So I would assume most of us, if you're thinking about shorting or TPing or long or whatever, you've already ran through dozens of scenarios and you have a plan for each. All right, Atherna, but your liquidity is at 65.5. All righty, so it kind of depends. Are you looking at CME? CME is up here. Alrighty. Make sure that you're planned out. Gabby Testnet! How are you guys doing? Goon Guy 69 says, is this the perfect short entry to the CME gap of 52? Well, the first thing is, Goon Guy, make sure that you're caught up, okay? I stream for 14 to 16 hours every day, and every day stream's highlights is on the YouTube. Not only that, but the entire organic stream itself is available as a VOD on Twitch. So we've already been talking about this for a couple of weeks now. That being said, Goon Guy, the data is the data. So you know that there's about $100 million in underwater shorts trapped right now, right? So you talked about the gap from 53. It's funny because there are underwater shorts from 53, $96 million just on the Bybit BTC USD pair, about 100 milli underwater. Okay, so that would probably work against. We've been talking about this for the last couple weeks, but until all of these shorts get squeezed out, you should expect every single short attempt to be round tripped. So you should be very urgent on TPing and closing your short. Every short attempt that we've had since 53, 55 really, when we started to notice that they're getting trapped, we've always been putting our stop loss, break even, profit, and anticipating that we're going to get round tripped. All right, so is this where we could get the rotation all the way back down to the 52 gap? Open interest says no. All right, is there CVD edge? Yes. All right, does the open interest, is that an end all be all? No. Is CME the more important thing? Yes. So we'll give it the 30-minute. We already talked about what kind of structural edge that I would expect. Hint, hint, failed auction. Okay. Open interest edge. I mean, at least you're getting top longers kind of starting to enter, right? It would have been nice to get that, but we also said we're not going to get everything that we want. So we'll keep an eye on this. All right. It's interesting because it's starting to do that goofy shit like CME swept, but derivatives didn't, So you're going to have to keep an eye on this, and you're going to have to keep an eye on Coinbase. All right. That's Coinbase right there. Coinbase just had its sweep. All right. But do you feel like you're caught up on all the levels, brother? It's not that hard to see these. Okay? Right? You can see that. Right? Do it for CME. Okay? So you know what levels you want time spent under or above. Okay? So identify the level. Alrighty? You know what this is, right? What is this? What is that? What that is? So we already talked about structural edge. Structural edge. Is it an SFP or a failed auction? Okay, when the structure is left, is it good high or is it a bad high? Okay, next thing, open interest edge. What would you want to see if you are bearish? Open interest edge. Well, you would either want top longers or you want short squeeze, or both. Long, 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 long. Long, 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 longu might be wrongu. Did shorts get stopped out? No. Little bit of longs. So open interest edge is okay. CVD, RSI, edge. Okay, what is this? Andy says, my hands are itching to smash a short right now, but these motherfucking shorts, man. Well, here's the thing, Andy. Did we not say that you're most likely gonna have to think about what you wanna do if those guys are not squeezed out? From this anchor point, okay? What happened? From this anchor point, are there more longs or are there more shorts? We're all looking at the same shit. But I would think, Andy, did I not say for the last couple of days, you're not going to get the perfect play that you want? All right? So, and here's the thing, brother, like what you're seeing right now, where the shorts aren't squeezed, you're going to see this a lot. You're going to be like, fuck, I wanted to take a long, but not all the longs are stopped out. Okay, but you're gonna have CVD edge. You're gonna see higher time frame that there's other positions that might be a little bit more trapped. Okay, so the good news is, brother, even if you don't take a trade, even if you just completely whiff on a short, you get to see how this plays out, and that's the real juice. And the next time you see a similar scenario, can you remember this and figure out how you want to do the next opportunity a little bit better? That's really all this is about. If you think that you're a bad trader because you might miss out on a short, you're tripping. You're a bad trader if you can't learn from this and juice the next time a very similar setup shows up in front of your face. That's when you figure out if you're actually good or not. Alrighty? So really focus on what kind of edge you have, what kind of edge you don't have. Take a shot if you want to, but at the end of the day, you don't have to take a shot. Figure out what's going on, figure out what happened, and then be able to try and anticipate that next time. And that's the real juice. So can you learn? Can you remember shit that you've seen before? Imagine we go down and you're thinking to yourself, fuck, I wanted to take a long, but not all the longs are squeezed. Well, you didn't learn anything from this. Is there a particular thing? So if you have CVD divergence, maybe you don't need open interest. You know, is the amount of top longers that you got right there, is that good enough, or maybe it's not? 15 million, maybe 15 million is good enough just to kind of come back and do like a value area high retest. You know, maybe you did market smash with a invalidation on a higher high, and you're going to TP 80% at the VWAP because you have no idea what you're doing and you want to mitigate risk. I don't know. But today, brother, you figured out that you need to do a little bit more better planning on what you would do and how you would execute, what edge you would prioritize, if you don't get the exact setup you want. You know, you should never be sitting there thinking, fuck, I didn't get the buybit guys to get squeezed out. Well, what about the other stuff? Did you not think about a scenario where the buybit shorters don't get squeezed out? And you know, like, it's okay to be like, fuck it, I'm not going to short until all these fuckers get stopped out. That's okay too, because at the end of the day, like, it's just been trending higher, right? Maybe your thing is every pullback, you're looking for a scalp long. And you're not even thinking about shorting until all these fuckers start to get stopped out. All valid. Sounds good? Is that a good high for you? Yes, it's the best one we've seen yet. Any questions about that? So some of you guys, I think, maybe need to refresh on what equilibrium is. What is equilibrium? What is previous day equilibrium? What is previous month equilibrium? Why is the 0.5 so important? Because if you don't believe it as much as I do, you're still not going to short that. You're still not going to long that. Alrighty. And when you do Fibception, like I said, it's based off of quarters. So the 25.5 and the 0.75 is a little bit more prevalent than, say, golden pocket. Okay. Does that help? And there's probably old clips of Fibception. I've done Fibception quite a bit, and it's always the same. Okay. It's the 0.5. Any other questions? But just remember though, Fib math, it's still edge, right? Fib math, top longing, awesome, right? How many of y'all have been hearing me for the last couple months talking about, hey, I don't know if we have enough bottom shorters trapped for the pump? How many of y'all have heard me say, if we do go back to 60 or 59 or fucking 57, I want to see bottom shorters trapped? So no one should be surprised if I'm shorting when I see top longers trapped. We've already talked about that. Sometimes you're not going to get the trifecta. You're not going to get shorters, squeezed, and top longers. You're only going to get one or the other. But that's okay. Did we get CVD div? Did we get CVD div? Higher high? Fred says, can you go over where to draw your fibs? Okay, stop the music for a second. So it's kind of subjective, Fred. Obviously, you're going to go from left to right, okay? Because that's how time flows, okay? So, for example, I might say from this high to this low, I want to know where the golden pocket retracement is. Okay? So I will go left to right, swing high, swing low. Okay? Or I might do something like, I want to know the golden pocket retracement from here to here. So I'm going to go left to right, swing high, swing low. And that's how you get, oh shit, there's a single print right there. So going down like this, cleaning that out, you know, structure, edge, doing something like that, value, right? This could also be what? That point of control. So, and then imagine if this is like a hidden bull div. You know what a hidden bull div versus a regular is, right? But imagine if that's like a hidden bull div, okay? And so let me see, how high did ES go? ES went all the way up. So ES futures went all the way, S&P futures went all the way up to 58.30. So I think you're okay, Andy. I would say that if S&P is still up there when you wake up, you may want to keep an eye on that. I think if it goes back up and it makes a higher high, you probably want to see a swing fail if you want to short it, which means you could do this. Soon as it tucks back in, I don't care if it's a 1 minute, 5 minute, that's the sweep level. As soon as it goes up and it tucks back in, limit, stop loss. You need to be okay with this. So I think what you might want to do is, how high would you tolerate this to go? Since your entry would be somewhere around 66.4. So how much of a position do you want to go into? And is that affordable? Yes or no? That also kind of gets us to the conversation about this. Do you remember when we did this? It would kind of look like this. But you want the high to angle up that way. So that would be fine. You were writing the prophecy? Nah, it's not that, Andy. Andy, you're probably getting excited. Oh my God, I have a chance for a short? So it's hard to say, Andy. And I can't stress enough all of the things that are working against short attempts, right? Okay, so one, if I don't know how many times you've seen a good high get swept, but I would say like 8 out of 10 times, if it is going to actually continue the trend, meaning like it's going to end up being bearish, it's a swing fail. You don't want to spend time up there building value. So if you're super aggressive, Andy, there is your sort of plan for a higher high or a swing fail. It's got a swing fail. Your wick up there, higher high, would be the invalidation. And you don't really have to get too cute with swing high, swing low fibs and stuff like that. I think that's fine, but you got to really think to yourself how much is affordable or not. Which is why I was talking about this. So if you do this and you go like this, Andy, and you're thinking there and there, this is your risk. So how much is this? From here to golden pocket, that's about $250 per coin. From here to here, it's about $560 per coin. Okay, so what I'm talking about is it does this and then you get in, or it does this and then you get in. So you could run through, okay, if I put blind limits here, stop loss here, if I get fully stopped out, what is my loss? If I put entries here and here, I average out to about here, and my entry is here, how much do I lose? Stop loss behind 886, you could do that. But do you remember when we were talking about how the closer that you get to the next level, the stupider this short is? The closer that your stop loss is to this, because it would be ridiculous to have your stop loss like that. Make sense? So the further that you get away from here and closer to this, the more stupid this was, because your risk reward is deteriorating. So that's a couple of things to think about. But instead of saying, hey, I know that it's going to go here, or hey, I know that it's going to dump from here, you guys see the levels. You guys know exactly how much you would lose. It depends on how many times you've seen a good high get swept. So you know that from a structural edge, you would most likely have to reside yourself to an SFP. Obviously, if you know the invalidation of an SFP is really just a quicker version of a failed auction, right? They both look like this. The difference is a swing fail doesn't spend all this time. The failed auction spends all this time, which is why it's not as bullish or bearish as a swing fail. Makes sense, right? Because it spends that extra time. Structurally, it's the same, but it's all that extra time spent is the difference between an SFP. Because like on an SFP, if you really zoom in on the 1 minute, it can look like this, right, Andy? It can look like a failed auction. So you don't really want to spend too much time, which means that it's got to be an SFP. It's got to come back pretty quickly because you're getting closer to this. So the longer that you build value and get closer to this, just common sense, the higher probability you're going to end up there. So there's a risk of taking blind limits. Even though, Lion Cubs, earmuffs, even though, Andy, I tell everybody blind limits are stupid, you and I both know that when you get to a point and you're man enough to make your own decisions, there's nothing wrong with putting blind limits. What's wrong about taking blind limits is you start crying about why you did that or why you regret doing it, or because you haven't really fully thought out the true risk, which is what your realized loss would be if you get full stopped out. So I'm not opposed to it, but you know me, do I ever go all in on the blinds? No. So you could do some hybrid method, ND, where you go fibception from here to here. You recognize the 7.5. You know where the golden pocket is. You're going to say, hey, I'm going to take 25% of my position size, and I'm going to put blind limit there, stop loss here. If I get filled and it does some goofy shit like this, this will help me when I enter here as well. Okay? And then whether it's here or here or here, maybe you shave a little bit, which then in effect allows you to put your stop loss on a higher high. And then you can say, fuck it. My entry is right here. I can put my stop loss here. It's still break even if they come and get me. And then you can have a little bit of fun if it starts working in your favor. Maybe you don't get stopped out. Okay, well, you're looking for those lows. Maybe you start looking for these. You start pulling some fibs. You start looking for single prints. Yes, you know where the value is. So which one is appetizing for you? Make sense? By the way, look at this. Golden pocket, okay? Dink, 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 7.5, okay? If you want to say, yo, let's go with candle closes, then that doesn't get up to the golden pocket. Okay, so you can't really say, what about this as being a golden pocket? If we're going to talk about candle closes, then this one didn't make it to. So this would change to the 0.5 golden pocket. But they're both going to be pretty relative. So depending on how high this goes, does anybody know what harmonic I'm talking about? I don't know if it's that deep, but it's like somewhere around here. But anyways, so, okay. Yeah. Lots of cool stuff coming out. All right, I'm out of here, Barnum. Back to back. I tried to stall as much as I could to see if we were going to hit that 7.5. This is crazy. They're waiting for me to leave. Small D, I'm out. 16-hour stream, y'all. I loved it. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. I'll see you guys in 7 hours. It sounds so weird to say that. See you guys in 7 hours. Stay safe, y'all. Have a great night. Bugatti. Shiba.